السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. All the praises are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and send the peace and blessings upon Prophet, his family and his Sahaba. Episode 16, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu performing the pilgrimage. In the month of Dhul Qaddah or in Dhul Hijjah of the very year, the 9th of Al-Hijrah, the Messenger of Allah dispatched Abu Bakr the Truthful as a deputy prince of Al-Hajj, so that he would lead the Muslims in performing of the Hajj rituals. Abu Bakr then set some Muslims to declare publicly that no disbeliever would after that year perform pilgrimage, nor would anyone be allowed to make tawaf of the sacred house unclothed. A meditation on the Ghazawat. Meditation on the Prophet's Ghazawat, missions and the battalions he formed and dispatched will certainly give us and everybody a true clear impression that the Prophet ﷺ was the greatest military leader in the world, as well as the most righteous, the most insightful and the most alert one. The Prophet had also profound insight and could differentiate the faithful from the hypocrites and the plotters. Thanks to these battles, the Messenger of Allah managed accommodation, secure land, and provided chance of work for all Muslims. One of the greatest aims of al-jihad is to free man from the aggression, the oppression, and the tyranny of men of power. A man of power in Islam is a weakling till after the right of the poor is taken from him. War in Islam is a jihad for the purification of the land of Allah from deception, treachery, sinful deeds, and aggression. It is a sacred war that aims at spreading security, safety, mercy, and companionship, as well as observing the rights and magnanimity. The Messenger of Allah had issued honorable, strict rules about the wars and bade his soldiers and leaders to comply with them. They were forbidden to break the rules under any circumstances. Then the Prophet would say to them, "Let your invasions be in the name of Allah, and for His sake. Fight those who disbelieve in Allah. Invade, but do not exaggerate nor commit treachery. Never deform the corpse of a dead person or kill an infant child. Do not kill a wounded person, nor run after a fleeing one, or kill a captive. Whoever kill one who is under pledge to a covenant shall not smell paradise, though its smell could be experienced at a 40-year distance from it." People embrace the religion of Allah in large crowds. The invasion and the conquest of Mecca was a decisive battle that destroyed paganism utterly. The Arabs, as a result of that battle, were able to differentiate the truth from the error. Delusions no longer existed in their life, so they embraced Islam. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Perform so a prayer at such a time, and so prayer at such and such time. When the prayer time is due, let one of you call for the prayer and appoint the most learned of the Quran among you to be an imam, the leader of yours." 100,000 or 144,000 Muslim pilgrims shared in Hajjatul Wida. The delegations. The numbers of delegation listed in Ahl al-Maghazi were over 70. Investigating such a large number is not an accessible thing, so we will put the main delegations here. The delegation of Abul Qais. This tribe had two arrivals. The first was in the 5th year of Al-Hijrah, or before the date. Mundiq bin Hayyan, a member of that tribe, used to trade in Medina. So as soon as he heard of Islam, when he had arrived in it for trading, he embraced Islam and carried a pledge from the Prophet to his people, who eventually became Muslims too. Delegations. The The arrival of this tribe was in the early times of the 7th year, and that was when the Messenger of Allah was in Khaybar. At-Tufail bin Amr al-Dawsi was one of them. Farwa bin Amr al-Judami's messenger. Farwa was an Arab leader in the Byzantine army. Seeing the stamina and courage of the Muslims, he became a Muslim. The Battle of Mut'ah compelled his admiration. Udhara delegation. This delegation, which consisted of 12 men, had arrived in Medina in Safar, the 9th year of Al-Hijrah. They spent 3 days there. One of them was Hamza bin Nu'man. When they were asked who were they said, "We are Bani Udhara, the foster brother of Qusay." To his mother, "We are the ones who supported Qusay and removed Qusa'a and Bani Bakr from the bosom of Mecca." Bali delegations. Their arrivals was in Rabi al-Awwal, the 9th year of Al-Hijrah. They embraced Islam, stayed in Medina for 3 days. Their chief, Abu Dabib, wondered whether hospitality was rewarded by Allah. The Messenger of Allah said, "Yes, and so is any charity you offer to poor or rich people, that is sadaqah." Thaqif delegation. The arrival was in Ramadan, the 9th year of Al-Hijrah, after the return of the Messenger of Allah from Tabuk. Hamdan delegation. The arrival of this delegation was in the 9th year of Al-Hijrah, when the Messenger returned from Tabuk. So the Messenger of Allah gave them a pledge to guarantee the fulfillment of their demands. He sent to them Malik bin An-Namt as their chief, and appointed him as an agent of those and appointed as an agent on those of his people who embraced Islam. Khalid bin al-Walid was appointed for them all with a purpose of calling them to Islam. He stayed with them for 6 months, calling them to Islam, but no one responded to his call. Later on, Ali bin Abi Talib was dispatched there, and Khalid was ordered to come back. Upon arriving at Hamdan, Ali communicated to them a message from the Messenger of Allah and called them to Islam. They responded to the call and became Muslim. The delegation of Bani Fazara. Upon the Messenger's request from Tabuk, the delegation of Bani Fazara came to see him. That was in the 9th year of Al-Hijrah. The group of delegates were over 10 men. They came in order to profess Islam and complain about the drought of their region. The Messenger of Allah ascended the pulpit, lifted his hand up, and implored Allah to send rain forth onto them. Bani Hanifa delegation. They arrived in Medina in the 9th year of Al-Hijrah. They were 17 in number and included the master of liar Musaylima bin Thumama bin Kabir bin Habib bin Al-Harith of Bani Hanifa. The group of delegates were housed in Al-Ansar's house. They came to the Prophet and declared their Islamization. As for Musaylima, the liar, versions very concerning his embracing Islam. Contemplation of all these versions shows clearly that Musaylima expressed disapproval and revealed hotness and boastful spirit and expectations to be a prince. The succession of these delegations indicated the great degree of the entire acceptance with Islamic call reached. It manifested its influence and domination on vast area of Arabia. The Arabs observed Al-Madinah with such a great respect and estimation that they could do nothing but surrender and submit to it. Al-Madinah had become the headquarters of all Arabia, so it was impossible to avoid it. We dare not say that all the Arabians were possessed and enchanted by this religion. There were a lot of hard-hearted Bedouins who surrendered, that became Muslims only because they mastered it so. Their souls were not sanctified yet. Their tendency to raid had been deeply rooted in their souls. The teaching of Islam had not crystallized their soul well yet, accounting some of them. The Quran says, "The Bedouins are the worst in disbelief and hypocrisy, and more likely to be in ignorance of the limit which Allah has revealed to His Messenger, and Allah is all knower and all wise. And of the Bedouins, there are some who look upon what they spend as a fine and watch for calamities for you. On them be the calamity of evil, and Allah is all hearer, all knower. Al Quran, chapter 9, verse 97 and 98. The Quran praised others, saying, and of the Bedouins there are some who believe in Allah and the last day and look upon what they spend in Allah's cause as approaches to Allah and a cause of receiving messengers in vocations. Indeed, these are an approach for them. Allah will admit them to His mercy. Certainly Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Al-Quran, chapter 9, verse 99. Those of them who were present at Makkah, Medina, and Taif, in many others areas of Al-Yemen and Al-Bahrain were different because Islam had been firmly rooted in their soul. Some of them were great companions and masters of Muslims. The success and the impact of the call. Before we move one more step and meditate on the last days of the Messenger of Allah's life, we ought to cast a quick glance at the great work that was a peculiarity of his. That very peculiarity that made him excel that all other prophets and messengers, and made him so superb that Allah made him atop the formers and the letters. It was him that was addressed by, O you robed in garments, that is Prophet ﷺ, stand all night except a little. Al-Quran, chapter 73, verse 1 and 2. And Allah said, O you Muhammad enveloped in garments, arise and warn. Chapter 74, verse 1 and 2. So he arose and kept on like ward for 20 years. During those years, he undertook to carry the burdens of the great expectations on his shoulders for the sake of the whole mankind and humanity, the faith and jihad in various fields. He, the Prophet, took upon his shoulders to free man's conscience, which was changed with desires and lust. As soon as he had freed the conscience of his companions from the burdens and heaps of al-Jahiliyyah and earthly life, he started another battle in another field, or rather successive battles against the enemy of Allah's call and against those who conspired against it. For over 20 years, the Messenger of Allah had been leading that progressive, steady battle, disregarding any other affairs that kept him of that noble cause. He went on that way till the Islam call proved to be successful on a large scale that puzzled all men possessed of good reasons. The Islamic call eventually prevailed all over Arabia. It removed all traces of Jahiliyyah, that is ignorance, from the horizons of peninsula. Scattered people and tribes were united, and man moved from man's worship of man to man's worship of Allah. An Arab is no better than a non-Arab. In return, a non-Arab is no better than an Arab. A red-raised man was not better than a black one, except in piety. Mankind are all Adam's children, and Adam was created from dust. Thanks to the Islamic call, the Arab unity had become a reality, and so was the case with human unity and social justice as far as their earthly and heavenly affairs were concerned. When this call had accomplished its role in the human life, it freed mankind's spirit of superstition, illusions, white slavery, corruption, and man's worship of man. Islam had freed the human society of filth, dissolution, injustice, and tyranny. Truth, faith, dignity, active, steadily deeds, the development and improvement of means of living, and reclaim of rights were all bases upon which the Islamic State was built. That's for today. We'll come with the next episode very soon. Please share and subscribe the channel for benefit for all of us. Thank you. Jazakumullah khair.